vaccines or travel medications you might need for that country, or like what the CDC recommends that you be aware of. We'll cover your vaccination costs if you do need to get vaccinated. So that's another thing that we cover. Do this early because I have definitely had to travel, and there's like a much longer acting like tuberculosis. No.
What is tuberculosis? I think.
No. It's like another thing. Anyway, there's this one like vaccine that is good for 5 years if you take it by like an oral dose, but you have to take it every other day, and the doses need to be refrigerated, and it's typhoid. Sorry, typhoid.
Yeah.
A typhoid vaccine that is good for 5 years is an oral dose, and it takes like a long time to both take, and then you're supposed to wait 7 days before you actually go to an area that you could be exposed for it to be effective. And I have oftentimes waited way too late to be able to take that, and so I instead get like a shot. That's only good for like 2 years, and so I've had to get my shot multiple times.
Yeah.
In the last few years, and I don't know. I recommend do things early.
Unless you don't mind shots.
Unless you really like shots, and like getting them often, every 2 years. Again, okay. So there's also UC Davis travel policies and guidelines. So I think this first page is for UC Davis travelers, and the next one is for non-UC Davis travelers. There are slightly different forms, and they are on the Trellis page. The like secret Trellis page, they're distinctly labeled as for UC Davis students and non-UC Davis students. They're very similar, but we have to have two. So we expect everyone to follow our travel policies and guidelines. And I'm sure all of your universities also have travel policies and guidelines that are probably exactly the same. So we expect everyone to be aware and follow those when they're in other countries, like representing Trellis. And also, you're all representing your own universities as well. So we expect you to be good representatives. And then we also highly encourage you to register your trips with the Department of State. We have a link where you could register your trips. So it's like the U.S. government knows that you are like in this country, in this area for a certain amount of time, and if anything like happens, they know to like get you and stuff like that. Okay, so then there are 4 appendices. Before we go over those, travel insurance. So for Davis students, you automatically get enrolled in like the UC Davis like travel insurance when we book your tickets. But for non-UC Davis students, you're gonna have to get your own insurance through your university, or if your university doesn't for some reason have travel insurance for students, then you'll need to purchase some travel insurance, and we will reimburse you for that if that's the case. But your universities, like I know University of Florida has like a student travel insurance, and I think North Carolina State does as well. And I believe that Hawaii does, but I'm not positive. But something to look into. Yeah, because you definitely need travel insurance before you go. And then we would also like a photocopy of your passport on file, as well as your final itinerary. We'll have your final itinerary because we'll book your travel, but so I guess that doesn't really matter. We will have that. Okay, so going on to attachment A. This is the liability waiver, also known as a memorandum of understanding. And read through this carefully. It's basically saying that, like, travel is risky, like, I understand and will, like, do my best to minimize the risks associated with traveling to these places by getting vaccinated and, like, not acting like a dumbass, basically.
Hang gliding.
Yeah, like not doing dangerous activities, and things like that. Yeah, standard codes of conduct, all of these things. And at the bottom of all these pages, we will notice that there's like an emergency contact that you can call, even if you're not a UC Davis student. You can still call that number. And that's like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call that if anything happens. We recommend that you call that number first, and then you can also call like the number that your insurance provides you if you need. And then there's also, that's not my cell phone number. That is the number of our office. Or actually, I don't know what. But this is my email. This is my personal UC Davis email. If you, yeah, because we all check the Trellis account, but I mean, I can't say I check it like every 20 minutes every day of the week, but I probably do that with my personal email account. So if it's like the weekend or like a random time in the US, in California, when you need to email me, email me at that number, or at that email address. Okay, yeah, so there's the whole memorandum of understanding that we'll need you to sign and submit to us. We use like WorldQ and iJet as our like travel risk management things, and before you travel, before you sign this, we'll probably sit down or video conference with you and go over kind of like the country's like risk assessments if it's going to be a country that, so I think WorldQ rates countries on a scale from 1 to 5 in terms of like safety, with 5 being like very, very unsafe. So if the country is in that like higher range of like riskiness, then we'll like go over that report with you, so you are like very aware of what the government and like organization thinks you should be aware of before you sign this, so you're fully informed. Any questions so far on all of this? Everyone good? Okay. Okay, so then after the like liability, we have attachment B, which is your medical information. This is so that like we are aware of any like issues, and if we need to like do anything from the US, we have the ability to like reference this information. It's also yeah, so if like if you need to lose your insurance, but for some reason have lost information, or I don't know, for any reason, like this is good information that we should have on file in case anything goes wrong, which you will know who to contact. In case of emergency, whoever you want us to contact, we will be able to contact them. And then attachment C is the travel emergency contingency plan. And so, again, these are all Word documents on the website, not just PDFs. So you can like fill out further. If you get a cell phone, you can either activate your cell phone to work in the country that you're going to, or if you like have a cell phone that can get a SIM card and get a local phone number, like let us know like that you'll be doing that, and so once you get there, we'll either know that we can call you on your current cell phone, or email you to get the cell phone number that you have when you get there. And we'll also have like a general idea of your itineraries. And then this is also just good information for you to figure out, is what's like the closest hospital to where you're going to be staying, and what are like the emergency numbers or services that you will be able to call in that country. So this is both for you and us to fill out this form. And then this is more information about travel insurance. Yeah, and then I think this next one is for the non-UC Davis students. It's basically the same thing. So I won't go through it again. So skipping on to your reimbursement form. So like I said, we'll cover your meals and your lodging and any travel any project-related travel that for some reason the organization hasn't covered for you. We'll also cover visa costs and vaccination costs. And if you need to purchase any insurance that is like not covered by your university, we'll cover that. But so you need to keep all of your receipts. And like I mentioned, I'll get you all the like special form to create your own receipts if receipts are not available where you are. And you can like print a bunch of those out and carry them with you. But so yeah, so this is like the form that you'll fill out and you'll send to Beatrice. And she will work with you on getting you all of that money back once you return.
One question I had. Is it okay for students to fill out this form kind of in stages, like maybe when they've done their visa, and like maybe if they're incurring a couple expenses that are over like 4 or 5 months?
Or that is a good question. I feel like in the past it's been mostly like a one-off thing, but if we can talk to Beatrice and see if she's willing to like get multiple like smaller requests. She's fairly new. I don't know if she's gonna be a bit overwhelmed, but we'll look into that.
Okay, yeah.
We'll look into whether or not you can fill in multiple smaller requests, but normally it's after you come back from your trip that you do this. Any questions about that? No? Okay. Okay, so then after that we have the visa requirements. So we've done a little bit of the work for you and kind of looked up visa requirements for all the countries that we have projects in, but again, we recommend that you verify that we didn't make any mistakes in this and start taking any, I guess you wouldn't like apply for the visa until you know exactly when you're leaving. So first figure out when you're gonna go, and then figure out when you figure out when you need to start thinking about applying for this visa, or some of you can get it in country and then you don't have to think about it until you get into the country. Yeah, okay. So then after that is Trellis monthly reports. So like I said, we'll send you every month. So at the first week of February, we'll send you an email with a link saying, please fill out like your hours and like what you did for January. And you'll fill this out once a month until you're done with the project. So projects are estimated to take like 6 months, but those aren't always necessarily 6 consecutive months. And so it's perfectly fine if there's a month where you haven't done anything for the project, like you you've been super busy or there just hasn't been anything to work on, like that's fine. You could do all of your 100 hours in 1 month if you are like really dedicated to doing that. That's fine. But yeah, it's meant to be flexible and work with your schedule, and don't feel like we are judging you if you send us like a monthly report where you just like, I didn't do anything this month. That's still totally fine. We understand that people's schedules like wax and wane. Okay. So yeah, after that, there's the trip report. So this is what you would fill out after you come back from your trip to work with your organization in country. It's pretty straightforward. You have like this list of kind of activities that you've taken, that you did, like analysis of the activities and actions taken. If you go to the Trellis secret page,
I know.
yeah. There's an example of this. There's like here's a complete trip report like example from a previous Trellis student. So you can get an idea of what that looks like. And also if you take any pictures or like, yeah, have anything like related to your trip that you'd also like to share with us, we would love that. So yeah, that's basically the trip report. The next item is a Trellis student like supplemental fellowship. I guess this says Trellis student fellowship. So we have this kind of like pot of money available for all students to apply for. If there's anything that the project needs that the organization hasn't already budgeted for, but you like would like to have that you think would make the project run much smoother. So these could be like soil tests, or maybe you want to do some experiments related to the project locally. You could rent greenhouse space. But yeah, so it's from $200 to $499 that you could apply for, and it's a pretty simple form. Like, so this is the application. Your name, your project, the amount you want, and then like a brief description of the project, and then kind of the budget of like what you're planning to spend your money on. So for example, we had a student last round buy like a bunch of, like essentially buy like a library of like reference material for their organization to have. They bought them like a bunch of like programming books and things like that. You could pay for the cost of like printing materials that you're going to bring to your country when you go there. Yeah, whatever kind of like materials and things you think you'll need but that aren't already covered in by the organization, you can apply for this extra money. And currently we have the deadline as being March 15th, and which is like the last day of our seminar. But we'll see if we'll let you know if that changes. If anything, we would give you more time to apply for that. But for now, it's March 15th. Any questions about that supplemental fellowship or anything? Nope, okay. Cute. Okay, so this is what Tia was asking about. We do have a list of everyone's projects and organization and country they're going to, and the student that's working with them and their email address. So you guys can get in touch with each other if you want to outside of this class, like say someone's working on a post-harvest project but then wants to know about like insect damage, we can contact one of the entomologists on our team. Yeah, so feel free to utilize that information. Next is this list of like what we refer to as interview questions. Again, I don't think that you need to approach these as like literal interview questions, but it's a good like framework for thinking about useful information that you, or like questions that you could ask either now or when you're in the country to get a better idea of both like the organizational environment as well as the broader like community that you're going to be in and the agricultural situation that exists there. Yeah. Okay. So next we have kind of like a few screenshots of some agricultural information resources that you can use if you don't already know about them. There's the Global Knowledge Bank. This is in English, but it's an interface that consolidates resources about extension and horticulture information on a broad range of topics. No one's going to South America this year, but there is something in Spanish, or Latin America. There's InfoNet BioVision, regional resource, good for East Africa. There's the PlantWise Knowledge Bank. If you're one of the people that's doing a post-harvest project, there's the UC Davis post-harvest website, which is really excellent and has a ton of information about like every single fruit you could want. That's not true, not every single, but a lot of like random fruits and vegetables they have information on. There's also FAO, which has things in a number of different languages. And then our website, the Horticulture Innovation Lab, we do also have like resources and toolkits on there as well that our projects have developed, or like larger projects have developed that you can use. And feel free to email us anytime if you can't find, like, if you're like, oh, I'm looking for information on this topic, I can't find it, like, feel free to email us. We have a list of advice from previous Trellis students that have worked on Trellis projects. So feel free to peruse that lovely like list of advice from your predecessors at your own pace. And then following that, we have telling your Trellis story. So probably after you get back from your project sometime, like we'll sit down and debrief with you about your, like we'll read you through your trip report and then we'll like sit down with you or video conference with you and debrief on how that went and kind of like next steps if there are. But so it's good to keep in mind how to share this experience with others. We'll probably have one of our communications people also kind of like sit in with you and maybe like talk with you about maybe writing a blog post or doing like a video, like a photo journal type thing if you are really into taking pictures. And it's also a good way of like having something that you can point to later on when you are applying for other like fellowships or jobs or anything where you're like, this is an experience I had and these are like things I did and learned, and here's a link to the to the article that I wrote about it. But yeah, so Brenda is our main communications person. We have a new communications kind of grad student coming on too, so one of them will probably be in contact with you about sharing your experience. And then just the last thing is from our last round, you can kind of get a sense of what projects we had last round and where they were, and oh no, this is our current round.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
This is our current round. If you want to look at our past round, that's on our main Trellis page, the not secret one. Yeah, so this is an overview of what we're doing this round, and soon your names we'll update this to have all of your names on it as well. Yeah, so any questions, comments? That's kind of like it for this orientation.
I'm gonna mention something.
I want to go for it.
So I tried to go on Smart Site and I saw there was an area where I needed to like activate your request. So did you get emails saying that you are now on Smart Site? You can access it? Okay, did you try and actually go in and log in?
I already forgot my password, so you can figure that out.
Write it down. Yeah, Brad, you said yeah, you were able to log.
Yeah, I just logged in.
Cool. So I think, yeah, we should be good to go. So, yeah, the resources that we went over today will be there, as well as the ones that Elyssa mentioned, and there's also the secret website. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secret page. But yeah. So that's it for today. If no one has anything else.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any format or a survey format to start with the organization, or something that's maybe been used over time, or something that can help us as well to start? Because in my own case, I need to understand what is going on. How is the production scale, and what are the resources that the growers they use in their production, and how are they able to do all those kind of things? So I need to understand before I start planning on with them and what are we gonna do and to get things started. So if there's any kind of format of survey that has been used in the time past that can help us.
So that's actually something that Mark Bell will be going over next week.
Okay.
But I think that, let me look more closely at these like interview questions. But I think that those are good. I mean, they're good general questions, but you seem to have a good idea of like the things that you need to know. So,
Sure.
I mean, whatever is the best system for you. Yeah, Mark will be going over like general like good questions to be asking, which I think are more along the lines of these like general questions about your organization. But if you have like specific questions related to your specific project that you already know, I mean, yeah, ask away.
All right, that's good. And I also have something to say, but I will not want to bother everyone if they don't want to say something particular to my own case. So
yeah.
All right. So it's about visa. My visa to the US. I just finished my master's program, which I had a visa for 2-year program, but I finished my master program earlier than I was supposed to. So my visa expired last December. But I have the document, I think I-20 or something, for my PhD program that goes to 2020.
Okay.
And I've tried to contact different U.S. embassy in Costa Rica and in Canada to see if I can do the third country, something that I can get my visa renewed without going back to Nigeria. But it seems like it will not be possible with the condition I was given. So the only option for me would be to go to Nigeria to do that.
Okay.
So, and I was thinking if that is the only case, though I'm not planning to go to Nigeria right away, and if I'm going to travel to Ghana, Nigeria and Ghana, very close. So I can, that is just my own thinking, that I can go to Nigeria, then from Nigeria, then be able to go to Ghana and to do that. But I'm just bringing that one as early as possible so that I can know what to do.
I'll look into that. I think our visa restrictions mostly come in us like being able to like give you the like fellowship money. And so I will double check, but I feel like that shouldn't really be a problem. Like, I think we should still be able to
Okay.
book your travel to
All right.
Ghana and things like that. And as long as you like have your renewed visa by like the end of the
Yeah.
program, I think,
The program,
that should be
definitely.
fine. I'll double check.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Well, we are just about out of time.
I had one question too.
Yeah. Cool.
The forms that we're going to be filling out, how do you want them delivered to you? By email digitally, or sign them out and mail them through snail mail?
Definitely digital would be the best. And so for things that require signatures, if you could like sign and scan, or if you could
Scan is good.
digitally like sign. I know that that's also an option. That's fine. And so yeah, email them to the emails that we've said. I think on like this first page should have detailed information of who gets them. I think in general, always CC or send directly to the Trellis Fund at UC Davis email. And then it's either going to be like Beatrice's email for the travel related things, or horticulture at UC Davis, which is our like program wide email account.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, and email the Trellis Fund at Gmail account like whenever you want. We check it pretty regularly. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Any more? I'm ready. No? Okay, then I think we'll sign off. That's already dash now.
All right. Thank you. It was nice meeting you all.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was nice
meeting you all.
to see your faces and not just read your names. And I look forward to getting to know all of you over these next, I guess, 9 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Can we stop recording?
Oh.
Cool.